how a relationship comes to an end. Hello everyone, welcome to the final part of this Venom saga. Venom, The Last Dance, the last movie of Eddie and Venom, sadly enough. I mean, that's what the trailers have basically made it out to be. But if Sony has its way, yeah, we're gonna get another 15 of these. So let's just hop into it. So we have a new bad guy in this movie called Null. And we have to prevent him from coming here to Earth. Because if he does, everything will end. That's basically the storyline of this movie. So let's just talk about characters and actors and stuff like that, because story-wise, we're gonna be a spoiler talk later on. Also, I know I'm 15 years late, but sadly enough, I couldn't do the review earlier. So starting off, we have Tom Hardy back as Eddie Brock in the voice of Venom. And my goodness, he does once again give a pretty good performance, but I will say this though, watching this movie, you can kind of see that he's done with it. It felt like he was just done. Like, this is the last one where he's gonna put effort into it, and that's it. But like I said, he still does his best, and to be honest, the bond between Eddie and Venom is so much better, because in the last movie, you know, they were not really the crime-fighting duo. However, this movie, they kind of make a promise to each other that they will be. And also, as you saw in the trailer, in the first trailer, biting off heads is allowed now, as long as there's no blood. So, everything seems perfect, but I really like these two together. However, as we move on to the remaining cast, we don't really have anyone else back. Sadly, I mean, we got two more characters back, but I mean, Anna, she's not back, nor is Dan. It's like the characters from the last two movies are basically gone because we basically have a whole new cast. So let's go into the next one, which is... oh my... I don't know how to pronounce this. Chiwetel Ejiofor. I really hope that I pronounced that right. But he portrays Rex Strickland, and he does a pretty good job. The character himself, just like most characters in like these Venom movies, are paper thin as can be. This guy is just a soldier who or like a commander who wants to protect the world. Simple as that. From these aliens. And that's it. So you're gonna get paper thin characters. I like the dude in the role. I also kind of have a small feeling that this was more in a way for Sony to be like, MCU, because he played Baron Mordo in the two Doctor Strange movies. So it's like, look, MCU characters. Ooh, maybe they were trying to do something with that, but he doesn't put in a good performance. Next up, we have Juno Temple as Dr. Teddy Payne, who is a scientist very much obsessed with symbiotes and stuff like that. And we actually do get a backstory for her, which I found very strange, because she's not really a character in this movie that you would say kind of deserves a backstory, but like she gets one. It's a paper thin one, as always with these movies. I mean, it makes sense later on, but like, what? However, let's talk about some of the returning cast, because we have Stephen Graham back as Patrick Mulligan. And I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a spoiler about this character. If you expect Toxin, keep walking, because there ain't no Toxin in here. Alright, just saying right now. I know people online are calling the symbiote that you see in the movie that he has Toxin. It's not, alright? It's not Toxin. And this guy, he's here for exposition. That's it. I don't even know how I can give the actor credit, because he's basically just taken over throughout the whole movie, giving exposition. That's all we're getting from him. So if you thought, oh, hey, look, Toxin and Venom are gonna team up against the Xenophage, no. Yeah, no, just not at all. So that's a bit sad. And next up, we have Peggy Lou back as Mrs. Chen, who has one little snippet in this movie. It is a very entertaining snippet in this movie, and I loved it in the movie. It also doesn't make any sense in the movie, but that's more for spoilers. But she has a little bit in this movie, and she adds a little bit of fun to this movie. And you love to see that stuff. So let's go back to the new characters. We have Rhys Ifans as Martin Moon, a hippie and alien enthusiast, as it says here on Wikipedia. Because I saw this movie last week, and I need Wikipedia's help in order to be able to know what happened in this movie. But Rhys Ifans, who portrayed Lizard in the two Amazing Spider-Man movies, and also portrayed the Lizard. Well, not really. It was more reused footage for the Lizard. However, he did voice lines for the Lizard in Spider-Man No Way Home, which also Venom appeared in, which, yes, the Venom trilogy is technically part of the MCU. Nothing else Sony does is part of the MCU, but the Venom trilogy is part of the MCU. Anyway, I like Rhys Ifans in the movie. I did not like his character. Well, I did he's just a fun hippie guy, but I felt like him and his family very much overstayed their welcome, and it wasn't really all that good. Like, they work in like a small portion, but you get like a big portion in the middle of the movie with him, and I mean, Rhys Ifans is a good actor, but it's a bit boring though. I will say that if I do have a complaint, it is that part. So let's move on to the final person on this movie that I can really talk about. That is our main bad guy, Noel, who was apparently portrayed by Andy Serkis. But Noel is the creator of the symbiote, as it is explained in the Venom: The Last Dance, but also he is basically pure evil and was locked up. However, because of stuff that happened in the past movies, there might be a way out, and Venom is the key to everything. And Noel, he actually gets a couple of lines. He's not just like, look, I know everyone's gonna make like a comparison to Man and Web. I haven't seen it, so I can't make that comparison. He does get some stuff to say. He's not just there at the end of the movie where it's like, ooh, no, and that's it. No, he actually is in the movie. Like, I think actually the movie starts off with him, if I remember correctly, and then in the middle you get a little bit of him, and then at the end you get a little bit of him. Yes, do the scenes with him feel like they're all the same scenes? Yes, most certainly. Sadly enough, they most certainly do. But also, he doesn't really, like, he is a threat that we have to stop from coming here, which I like that. I actually do like the fact that the main bad guy of the movie is not really as involved with the movie, unlike normally. It's more like we have to stop that guy from coming here. He just shouldn't come here. Simple as that. I like that. However, no, if you want to call him like the main bad guy, he is not really a good bad guy, because all he does is sit and talk. So that's a bit of a disappointment. So if you want Noel to do stuff, however, from potentially reliable sources, but maybe not, and what I mean by that is YouTube videos, I have learned that Noel is basically a character who does actually in the comic books do what he does in this movie, except for the one storyline where he is the main bad guy. Basically, he sits and does nothing until it's his time to shine. So, in a way, you could call it comic book accurate. So, now that we got the cast and characters done with, I actually forgot to say this earlier, but if you did not like Venom or Venom Let There Be Carnage, you're not gonna like this one. They don't, like, improve at all. I will also say, personally, this is probably the worst movie with the best ending in this franchise, because these movies are still stupid. And you know that how look, to anyone who's new here, the way that I rank these is based on my enjoyment of the movie. Did I enjoy myself watching the stupidity of Venom: The Last Dance? Almost certainly. Are these movies good? Like, really well thought out and fantastically written? Oh god, no. These are the most bare bones basic superhero movies. However, they kind of feel like parodies, and at least Tom Hardy runs with the joke with these movies, and that's what I love about these movies. The fact that it's like, it's harkening back to a time when superhero movies were actually trying to portray this kind of stuff off as being the most insightful, serious stuff that exists. You know, back in the day when we had Elektra and, like, Catwoman. Those movies portrayed themselves as being so serious, and they are so bad. Venom takes that, but also kind of just has fun with it, and that is entirely based off Tom Hardy. However, if I do have to say something about this, I will, and that is very simple. I want this to be the last Venom movie. Rumor has it, apparently they want to do more of these. Maybe not with Eddie, but more of these movies. I kind of just want it to be over and done. Also, the setup that they have doesn't really work, but we'll talk about that in spoilers. Also, my biggest issue with this movie are its mid and post-credit scenes, because this movie is actually a finale to the Venom series so far. However, then it has a mid and post-credit scene that it's like, oh boy, that kind of ruins the whole finale kind of feel. So I like to pretend that those two scenes don't exist. But also, what's weird is the fact we got a Venom trilogy before we got a sequel to Shang-Chi. But also, a Superman trilogy or anything like that. It's so weird. How do we have a Venom trilogy? And like these popular superheroes that don't have anything. They don't have like really anything at all. It's so strange that we have a Venom trilogy. I, personally, am super happy that we actually got a Venom trilogy. But as the title says, this is my last dance. But let's go into final verdicts. So my final verdict for Venom The Last Dance is going to be a 6 out of 10. I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. I'm sorry. I will say this. While the first 2 acts are kind of the final act is really good. So I'm kind of torn between like a 6 and a 7 out of 10 because I personally really enjoyed the final act. You leave the movie theater feeling good and also not good, but that's because of the way that the movie ends. But like you feel good. Like the last thing that you saw was this grand action sequence. It kind of makes you forget the 2 parts at the beginning and the middle. However, because of the beginning and the middle, I will have to say that this is a 6 out of 10. Also, the other characters from like the previous movies, they don't really appear. I mean, Patrick Mulligan is here because of the fact that we need him here because we kind of did set that up, so he was gonna return. And obviously Mrs. Chen is back because it's Mrs. Chen, because why not? But like all the other characters, they don't really exist anymore. It feels really weird, but I personally did enjoy the movie. So with that being said, comment down below and let me know what you guys thought of Venom The Last Dance if you have seen it. And if you haven't seen it, I would say you could go and see it. I mean, I wouldn't really say it's movie theater price worthy, but if it appears on a streaming service, maybe Netflix, maybe Disney Plus, I would recommend you go on there and watch the movies. All 3 of them. I would say it's worth a watch, but it's not worth like theater price or even buying it on Blu-ray, which I most certainly am going to do, so kind of hypocritical. But with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if you've done so already, turn on notifications, and don't forget to check out my Let's Play channel, link in the description and at the end of the video. And I'll see you guys in about an hour for that spoiler talk. Bye!